I never believed temptation could find its way into the quiet corners of my life. I had always thought myself strong, grounded, a woman who knew the difference between right and wrong. But sometimes the heart creates cracks in the walls you thought were unshakable, and someone unexpected slips through. My name is Celine, and this story begins in the coastal city of Marindale, where the waves crash endlessly against the shore and secrets seem to ride in with the tide. I was married to Adrian, a man who had once been my entire world. We shared 15 years together, but somewhere between responsibilities, silence, and routine, we lost the fire that had once burned so brightly. We still lived under the same roof, still called each other husband and wife, but it felt like we were only actors in a play, repeating lines we no longer believed in. Then came Raphael. He was a colleague brought in to consult on a project I was managing. He was 10 years younger than me, full of an energy and light I had almost forgotten could exist. His laugh echoed in ways that stirred something dormant in my chest, and his eyes. They held me when I wasn't looking for them. The first time he spoke my name, it felt like a secret whispered against my skin. I told myself it was harmless. Just conversation. Just admiration. But then there was the night of the storm. We stayed late in the office, the rain hammering against the windows, thunder shaking the ground beneath us. The power flickered, and for a moment, silence filled the space like it was holding its breath. That was when Raphael leaned closer, his voice low, his words trembling as though he had been carrying them for weeks. "If I kiss you now, Celine, will you stop me?" My heart froze. My mind screamed 1,000 reasons to walk away, to tell him no. But my lips, my body, every hidden ache inside me was begging for something I hadn't felt in years. A reminder that I was alive. I should have stepped back. I should have remembered Adrian waiting at home. But when Raphael's lips brushed against mine, the world outside disappeared. It wasn't hunger, it wasn't recklessness. It was gentleness, reverence, like he was kissing a wound he longed to heal. My hands trembled as they touched his face, my breath shallow, my thoughts drowning in a storm louder than the one outside. Afterward, I told myself it was a mistake, a moment stolen in weakness. But temptation has a way of weaving itself into everything once you let it in. I started staying later at work. I started answering his calls when I should have ignored them. I convinced myself we were only talking, only laughing, only sharing. Yet every word, every glance, every silence between us pulled me deeper. One evening, he invited me to his apartment. I stood outside his door for what felt like hours, my heart racing, my body trembling with anticipation and guilt. When he opened the door, I could see it in his eyes. He wanted me, not just for a moment, but completely. Inside, the air was heavy, charged with the weight of choices I wasn't ready to face. His hand brushed mine, and for a second, I thought I might give in entirely. But then I remembered Adrian. I remembered the life we had built, the vows we had spoken, the years that weren't just routine but history, roots that went deeper than the surface. My chest tightened with the truth. Raphael was offering fire, but Adrian had given me soil to grow in. And though it wasn't burning brightly anymore, it was still alive, waiting for care, waiting for me to breathe into it again. I pulled my hand away. Raphael's eyes filled with questions, with longing, with pain. My voice broke as I whispered, "I cannot do this. I cannot let a moment of desire destroy years of love, even if that love feels distant right now." He looked at me, silent, his jaw tight as if holding back words he wanted to release. Finally, he nodded, a quiet acceptance shadowing his face. "Then go, Celine. But don't ever wonder if you were wanted. Because you were. You still are." Walking away that night felt like tearing myself apart. The rain followed me home, washing over my skin as though it wanted to erase what had happened. Adrian was asleep when I walked into the house. I stood there, staring at him, realizing that love wasn't always about fire or passion. Sometimes love is a choice, a decision to fight for what has been built, even when the foundation feels cracked. The next morning, I sat down with Adrian. For the first time in years, I told him the truth, about my loneliness, about the silence that had grown between us, about how I felt like I was fading away. He listened, really listened, and when I looked into his eyes, I saw something I thought was gone. Regret. Love. A flicker of the man who once made me believe in forever. We decided to start again. Not as strangers, not as broken people, but as two souls willing to fight for each other. It wasn't easy, it wasn't sudden, but slowly the fire began to return. Sometimes it was a spark in the way he reached for my hand. Sometimes it was the way he looked at me like I still mattered. And little by little, I realized I had made the right choice. Because temptation can feel like salvation, but real love, even when buried, has the power to save you in ways nothing else can. So I tell you this story not to confess my weakness, but to remind you that we are all human, pulled by forces we sometimes cannot control. But the choices we make in the moments that matter, those choices define who we are, and who we choose to love. If you were in my place, standing at that door, would you have walked away? Or would you have stepped inside and let the fire consume you? Tell me in the comments, because I want to hear your heart. And if this story held you, if it made you feel the pull of temptation and the weight of love, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that will stir your soul and leave you questioning long after the last word is spoken.